All right, guys, welcome back to another video. As you guys can see, I have my black SRT in the shop today, and mainly because I have to get this thing ready for the track. So when this video goes up, it'll be Saturday. Right now I'm filming. Today is Friday, or today's Thursday. I'm going to test and tune Friday. So just like I said, there's nothing really much done to this car except for a front mount, an open downpipe, a boost controller, and a watt box. Still on a stock tune. I put in an 04 ECU in it, just like I said, it's an 03 car. It does have a TA50 trans, so it does have LSD. But other than that, this thing is bone stock. As you guys can see, this thing just looks ugly as all hell. Which, it doesn't really, it bothers me, but it doesn't. Mostly because when I pop the hood, people just look at this thing and just walk away. They don't even acknowledge it. So when this thing actually starts making a little bit of power, that's how I'm basically going to keep it for now, or at least I'm gonna try to. I want to make this thing as nice as that, but this is basically just like the little sleeper car. This is the daily, so I just want to make a decent amount of power. Nothing too crazy, but at least, you know, something to have fun in. But oh, and it has a blow-off valve. Nothing special. I think it's a cheap eBay one. So the plan for today is to mess with the front suspension a little bit. Probably pull some camber out. I tried pulling camber out the other day, but it looks like the passenger, no, it looks like the driver's side is in a little bit, has a little bit more negative camber than the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull some of that out, and then I have to go through and do an oil change on it. I got 6 quarts of 1030 to put in this thing. I think the balance shaft is deleted out of it. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really dug deep into this car yet. I just bought it and then just started honestly beating the crap out of it. But it's on a stock gate, literally everything. So it peaks 22 pounds, instantly drops down to 15. So like it pulls hard and then it absolutely falls on its face. So just like I said, my fastest pass in this thing has been I think it was a 13, literally a 13 flat. It was like 13.005 or 007 or something like that at like 99 miles an hour. So when I did that, it was an IFO event, and a couple tests and tunes before then, I was trapping 103, 104. That whole event, I don't even think I trapped over 100. So I know the 12 is in this car, and that's what I'm fighting for. The lowest 60 foot I got was a 176. So I'm gonna try to drop that down to at least like a 1.6, or hopefully maybe even a 1.5, but it's on a stock trans, stock axles. I do have spare axles that I do take with me to the track. I will be loading those up in the car, and that's basically about it. So I have to do an oil change, gotta do a boost leak test, and then just basically go through the car, double check everything, make sure there's no oil leaks or anything like that. And yeah, so let's get to it. All right, so this is the little homemade boost leak tester that I made. I honestly probably made this thing for like $5, if that, and this thing works really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a boost leak test, and then I'm gonna go ahead, jack the front end up, basically check everything. Oh, as well as I have to tighten down the e-brake shoes in the rear. And I think I'm going to do something with my actual e-brake handle. I did see a couple pictures floating around some of the SRT pages of, I forgot his name, but there was a guy, he drilled a hole. Let me see. He actually drilled a hole through this, and he put like a bolt through it, or like some type of like cover pin. And so when you press it down, you put the pin in, it keeps this down, so that way you don't have to hold the button when you pull it up. You can just pull it up and let go. So I think I may try something like that, but I really don't want to like drill a hole in it. But I mean, the car, it has rust. The rocker panels are shot. It has, you know, a hole in the rear quarter panel. So like, it doesn't really bother me. Just like I said, it's kind of like a fun beater that I just want to have fun in. Like eventually I want to make this thing nice. And I mean, one little hole really isn't going to make, you know, a big difference. But to be honest, I have like 2 spares. So if someone were to really complain about that, if they were to buy this car, I can honestly swap it out in like a couple seconds. So it's not a big deal. So I think I am going to do that, but I honestly might make some type of handle that kind of like curves up and straight, basically just like an actual hydro. But I don't know yet. That I haven't really gotten that far yet. I should probably do the oil change and get the main stuff done first. So I'm gonna go ahead, jack the front, actually, yeah, I'm gonna jack the front end up, put it on jack stands, and then go ahead, drain this oil, see how dirty it is, and then pull the cold air intake off, put the boost leak tester on, test it, and after that, we'll go ahead and tighten the e-brake, and then maybe do something with the handle. So let's get to it. All right, so now that I'm thinking about it, if I'm gonna do this boost leak test, it'll be a lot easier if I remove the battery. And also, I'm having issues with this brake booster line keep popping off. So with these SRTs, if you don't know, there's this brake booster line right here that runs from the booster down to the bottom of the intake manifold. And when those things blow off, it is so irritating because you have no pressure to the brake pedal. It basically turns into manual brakes. If you guys have never driven with manual brakes before, it sucks. Like, it really does suck. So I've had that blow apart on me, let's see, I think 3 times today and 1 time yesterday. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull the battery off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I have just a bunch of line laying around, so that way I can just have one piece, because I hate having 2 lines connecting with a plastic fitting, because it honestly looks like there's a tiny bit of oil in there, maybe from like this little this oil pressure sensor that the previous owner put in the head. I think it's leaking a little bit, so I have to address that, but I think it was leaking onto the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that, but I'm gonna have to remove the battery just so that way I can do this boost leak test, and then while I'm in there, replace the line. So all right, so just so you guys can get a little closer look, this is that line that I'm talking about. It keeps splitting right there. It's literally like I put no pressure in it at all, and it popped off. So earlier I wiped off most of the oil that was on here, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I have any extra line laying around and go ahead and try to replace that. So actually, let me see. Oh yeah, look at that. This one popped right off too. Just has focus, just has a basic zip tie on it. So just throw that right there. And then same thing with this one's just sitting on here. I can probably just pop this right off, which of course. So all right, well, got that removed. Now let's go see if I have some line, which I think I do. This is like, honestly, just a bunch of random parts that I have laying around. I may have the right line, but I don't think I have enough. So, let's see here. Nope, I don't. So, since I don't think I have enough, I do have some Dash 6 fuel line, but that's for something else. I have these, I may be able to use that. No, I can't. I was gonna say I may be able to use that one in the middle right there, but I'm gonna have to cap off that nipple. If worst comes to worst, that's probably gonna be what I use. I mean, to be honest, I have literally caps right here, so I can always just put a zip tie on it and cap it, but I'd rather not do that. So I'm gonna look deeper, see if I have any more line that's long enough, and if I do, I'll just use that. If not, then I'll just use that T and then just cap off the small piece. So I'll do you guys in a second. I'm gonna be working with, I found these two hoses laying around. So just like I said, I'm just going to put this in there, cap this off, and then throw a couple zip ties on it. This isn't, you know, the prettiest thing ever, but I mean, neither is that engine bay, so I really don't care. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to throw these on and see if they're long enough and just see if they work. Getting this line routed and zip tied down. That thing is definitely not going anywhere. As well as I got the oil draining, made a little bit of a mess because that filter was kind of a pain to come off. So I'm just running some basic 1030 O'Reilly oil, and then just a basic filter, nothing too crazy. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and hook the boost leak tester checker thingy. I'm gonna hook that up somewhere on that thing right there. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead, hook that up, and then turn the compressor on, let the air build up, and then go ahead and start testing that thing. If you guys can see, I took this line going off of the PCV valve that goes to this nipple right here on the intake manifold, because so I have a bunch of parts for this thing sitting all in my toolbox. This box right here is going to be a whole separate video in itself. I got this Kinetic Creations tucked harness, as well as a nice tile blow-off valve in there. And then this is all like my fuel system stuff, dash 10 feed lines with all my injectors and the fuel. Well, actually all the injectors and fuel are on the built motor, but I'm actually going to be taking some of this dash 6 line, because I'm not only going to be using it for that car when I upgrade the fuel system on that, which will also be in a whole nother video, but in these two boxes right here, I have 2 polished aluminum catch cans. I bought two of the same exact ones because I was going to use one for coolant and one for oil on the blue car. Well, get my freaking box. Well, since I'm, you know, doing some stuff to the black car, I kind of thought, well, I'll just buy another one for the blue car and mount this one on the black one. So this will be the new catch can setup for the black car. So it has all these holes in it. Definitely, these are all the plugs right here. Comes with 2 barb fittings, and then all these plugs also is mounting hardware. So it's just a simple catch can, unscrew the top. That's basically it. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually throw some like kind of like some steel wool in there and basically call it a day from there. So I'm gonna go ahead, if I can get this freaking cap on, and get this thing mounted. I just don't know where I'm gonna set it up at, because the way the cold air intake sits, it kind of sits right above the blow-off valve and kind of in the way of everything. If I was going to, I would mount it like somewhere in here. I might be able to still. If anything, I might just be able to like self-taper it on there. Just like I said, I don't really care like how this looks. I just basically want it in there. Just because, I mean, I know there's probably some blow-by going in there. So instead of it, you know, just going into the intake manifold and burning it and doing all that shit, or doing all that, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a catch can setup on it. So I'm gonna throw that in as well with some dash 6 line, and use the rest of the dash 6 line for the fuel setup, because this thing is actually going on the 85 soon. So right now I have the oil draining. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get this catch can set up. So just like I said, it has all these holes everywhere. This is, you know, of course, the drain, and this is basically just like the inlet and outlet, and then maybe like another possible drain. Not too sure on why they put so many holes on the damn thing, but came with all this hardware. Also came with this little like quick disconnect fitting. This is basically like the level, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that all set up as well as the hardware. So in the bag it comes with two barb fittings, basically in and out, and then it comes with literally all these plugs. So these are literally all plugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and, so these all come with O-rings. So I was thinking about using thread tape, but seeing that I might not have to because it has O-rings, it should seal. But also, now that I think about it, I wonder if I even have enough block offs. Like, I don't even know what these are for because these are open-ended. But I'm gonna go through and see how it's gonna fit. So basically, since it's gonna be mounted back behind the headlight like this, I'm gonna have the in and out on this side and then the level on this side, and then just block that hole and then block this one because that's just gonna be the drain. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread these bad boys in there. I should probably get the wrench size as well as the hex keys, that way I'm not running back and forth. So let me go ahead and get that. So this is basically where I want this thing to sit. So if I test fit the intake, it's going to sit in there like that. So it's like barely going to clear, like it's honestly going to be touching the entire time. So I'm gonna go ahead and basically mount this here and go ahead and self-tapper it in. So. All right guys, so I just got the catch can mounted as well as the lines, and let me tell you, this thing looks so good for a cheap little install. So I went ahead and routed the -6 braided line through the thermostat housing and the intake manifold. You can see down there, it's a tight little fit, so I just tucked it in there, and then I routed it all the way under and then up over here. And I know this doesn't look very good, but these are actually on there. This is as far as they would go on these barbs. Those are definitely not coming off. I will eventually fix those in the long run, maybe, who knows. And then so that's the feed going in, and then this is the outlet, also a 90-degree going straight to the intake manifold. So now that I got the catch can mounted up, this thing is actually really solid too. I just used 2 self tappers and just tapped it in there, and it fits with the intake setup as well. So I went ahead, did the boost leak test, didn't find a single leak at all, but I went ahead and put that line back on the compressor housing, so that should be good, and I threw a zip tie on that. And then I just went ahead, took the car off jack stands, got the battery and the cold air intake back on, and man, yeah, this catch can just looks so good sitting there. But I mean, it's not gonna, you know, give me any power or anything like that. It's just gonna help, you know, catch all the blow-by. So now I'm gonna go ahead, put some oil in this thing, and then prime the system, see where my oil level's at, and then I have to check to see if the 2-step is still engaged, because I unplugged the battery for longer than, you know, 15 minutes or whatever, and usually that will reset the ECU. So I'm gonna have to go through, I do have my laptop here, I'm gonna go through, make sure that's all set, and then go ahead and see if the 2-step works. All right, so as you guys can see, I have my my Wattbox software pulled up. Now I got the key on. I'm just gonna see if it's reading. Just like I said, I unplugged the battery for way longer than like 15 minutes, so I just didn't want anything to reset. I want to make sure everything's good to go before the trek tomorrow. So come on, let me turn the car on. All right, let me see if it reads now. Come on. All right, it connected. Now I'm actually gonna set my no lift to let's do 70 milliseconds. Yeah, let's do 70 milliseconds. And then launch control enables at 54. That's usually what I launch at. That's basically about it. So go ahead and hit right. Now, as you can see down here, it's programming. Program was successful. And that's basically about it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and actually set the no lift and the launch control on the watt box with the button. To set the launch control, you just have your clutch. You have the clutch pedal all the way down to the floor. And you hold the button. On N2MB's website, they have a graph that shows how many blinks equals what RPM. And then to set no lift, you let the clutch pedal all the way up, and then you just press the button down until it blinks. And once it starts blinking, same thing. You pick how many blinks or what RPM whatever millisecond you want your no lift window to be set at. So that's basically about it. I will be doing a couple test pulls in the next couple of seconds. But other than that, I'm gonna load up the car, get everything ready to go, and I'll see you guys at the track. Alright guys, well that looked kind of crazy today. But anyways, so I'm headed up to the shop right now. As you guys can see, it's a whole different day. I'm not in my black SRT. But anyways, so I'm fighting issues with the black car. I went to the track the other day to hopefully try to run a 12-second pass, because right now I'm only running 13 O's, like consistently. Like, it is a 13-0 bracket car, and I just cannot get it into the 12s for some odd reason. But anyways, to the track, and I put my buddy's AGP gate on with the, I believe, 18-pound spring in it, and I forgot that the boost controller was turned all the way up. So I believe that's definitely my issue, because in the video you can hear that when I get on the two-step, even during the burnout, it basically throws itself in a limp mode, and it just wants to basically run on 2 cylinders the whole time. Check engine light started flashing. I don't know what was going on. I was just really irritated with the car that night. I only got 2 passes, and both passes it did the same exact thing. So the first pass, I went on two-step, did the burnout, and then it just like, it lost all power, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So check engine light started flashing, and then I'm like, whatever. So then it started running fine. I staged the car, I get on the two-step, it got on two-step perfectly fine, and it was building like 18 pounds on launch. I'm like, what the heck? So then I go to launch it, it bogs instantly. I'm like, what is going on? So I just went down the track, went like 23 seconds or whatever. So then I pulled the car off, back in the pits, and popped the hood, looked everything over, and just couldn't really figure anything out. So I re-gapped the plugs. The plugs were at 28. I gapped them down all the way to 25 because pushing a little bit more boost, especially on a stock fuel system, I at least wanted to get the plugs gap a little bit tighter for the more, you know, to compensate for the more boost I'm throwing at it. So I did that. I went through the whole entire car, checked everything out. I even turned the two-step down 1,000 RPMs to 4,600, and it was still holding like 18 pounds for, you know, on the two-step. And I'm like, I cannot leave off that. And yeah, so I turned it down. I thought I got everything ready. I was, you know, doing some research, and while I was doing that, it turns out that the intake air temp sensor was supposedly a cause of it, but I'm not 100% sure. It said to check all the wiring. I did. Sure enough, the wiring was messed up, so I tried to fix it. I didn't have any of my stuff with me. But anyways, so I did all that, got everything good, checked everything over, took it back into the lanes, did the burnout, same thing. It went into limp mode again. I'm like, come on. But so then I turned the car off, turned it back on, ran fine. I'm like, what is going on? So then I go to stage the car. I'm on the two-step. The car left so hard. So like my best 60 foot is a 1.7. In all honesty, the car left so hard it was probably like a 1.6, almost close to a 1.5. Like it left really, really hard. But before I could even finish out the 60 foot, the car fell on its face. It bogged. I'm pretty sure it hit boost cut. Well, it started running fine after that. I got in third gear, and when I did, I looked at the boost gauge. It was at 30 pounds of boost, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. So then I just let out, shoots a big flame, which is normal for that car for some odd reason. But anyway, so I pull it back in the pits, pop the hood. Sure enough, the line to the wastegate blew off, so that's why I was at 30 pounds of boost. But anyways, that still doesn't, you know, figure out my issue. I'm pretty sure it was just because I was running way too much boost on the stock setup, like fuel system and everything. I've always ran boost controllers before on a completely stock setup, and it's always ran fine. It's just as soon as I hit like 20-something pounds of boost, of course it'll boost cut because it doesn't have enough fuel. So, but for the reason why I was, you know, kept going in the limp mode, or it seemed like it was just, it was really weird, and it was just irritating the heck out of me because I know that if I throw an AGP gate on and I hold 18 pounds of boost, then I'll definitely hit a 12, but I'm trying to get a 12 with the stock setup before I throw any more mods at it. Just because I want to see like what difference like it would actually make on the car to help you guys out too, especially the ones that are just getting into, you know, SRTs and don't really have that much money to make it fast, but to figure out what parts will actually make it faster. So we went out dig racing the other night and on the street, and I left on two-step. I turned the two-step down to 3,000 RPMs. I was probably building like 5 to 8 pounds. As soon as I slipped the clutch and rolled out on the dig, it bogged down a little bit just because I didn't have my two-steps set up enough, but it didn't run crappy how it did at the track. So as of right now, the two-step is working. I'm almost 100% positive that it was just because I had way too much boost at it and it just didn't have enough fuel. So I'm pretty sure that was it. But anyways, that's why the car was running crappy at the track. I want to go this week, but the track by me is actually not open, and I get out of work pretty late at my new job that I just started, so I don't know if I'm going to be going to the track for a while. But IFO is coming up. It is in like 28 days, and I just got my hotel. It's all the way in Columbus, Ohio. There's supposed to be over 7,000 people going. So I just got my hotel, and I'm actually headed up to the shop right now. I just pulled in because I'm trying to get the blue card done for IFO. All I need is a twin disc. I need to finish up the wiring. That's what I'm doing today, which will be in a whole nother video. And then I got the built motor in the car, and just like a couple other things, but I'm just waiting on the twin disc. I'm just waiting on the twin disc and a couple other things. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.